Thank you. Hello from the other side. I like the discussion because I worked for an OTA over several years, and obviously we didn't make so good job. We were one of the first OTAs in Austria, worked together with Expedia, but we didn't focus on the customer so much, and more focus on the hoteliers. At the moment, more or less, it is merged into HRS and more or less a brand from them and no technology provider. So I decided to go to the other side, to the hotel industry, because it seems that I work for them better. And now I try very fast to present some thoughts from the Austrian hotel industry. The Austrian Hotel Association is a lobbying organization founded in 1953, and we have about 1,300 hotels aggregated in our organization, and so we present more or less 70% of the top hotels in Austria. What we see is one of the things, and Roman has already lined out the theme, that the environment within which the hotels are working, operate, has really changed within the last 2-3 years really fast, tremendously. It is more complex, and to be right, to work with Expedia booking, or to be not right, to make online distribution, it's not so easy to answer this question. What is the right for the best hotel? We have small independent hotels with 20 beds in Austria, and also we have large hotels chains like Agora, we see where the chain is aggregating technology within the company. But what we see is that the market, the consumer market, well, is changing. We see that about 40% of all of the population worldwide will be grown up with digital technologies. So they will be using it all the day. They will be using it for booking, for information, for all the process, planning during the trip or afterwards of the trip. We see that mobile booking is really growing very, very fast, very large, and we also see that now we are on the way that about more than 50% of all bookings are made online, on different channels, but made online. And this brings us to three larger trends. What we see, the one trend is, if we look on the OTA business, we see this consolidation. We see a strong consolidation on the market. We see more or less 3 players dominating the market with different brands. Of course, we see the rise of new intermediaries in the hotel industry. Of course, we see Airbnb. We don't know where Airbnb will stand and be in 5-10 years, how they will adopt their business model. But we see there is a new player on the field, and we also expect other new players on the field. So there is room for innovation. I think there's room for innovation, but on the other hand, we see this concentration, this consolidation. And I have already mentioned the growth of mobile booking. I will go further. I will say not only mobile booking, booking by device, depending on which device the consumer informs himself by. Could be the handheld, could be an iPad, could be a mobile device, could be a TV or whatever. So we are thinking, we are talking about channels. Over this, the customer will inform, use content, or will make his bookings. If you look at the European market share on the distribution, my question was to outline direct indirect distribution. There is the Hotrack survey. At the moment there is the survey 2015 running, 2016 running, but these are the results from 2014. We see what we call direct bookings via phone, mail, email, direct booking on the website. We speak about 55%. We see that destination management organizations are really weak. The they provide 1.3% or things like this, so they have no functionality on booking anymore. And we see that the tour operator business, all aggregated tour operator business, is about 16%, and the online channel OTA business, we talk about 25%. 24, 25, depending from market. So there are not really good numbers on each market available. If you look a little bit to this concentration, I have already mentioned very fast, we see that three major brands, two major brands, Expedia, Priceline, and here in Europe, especially in Germany, Austria, we have the HRS group, but this 25% of market share, three companies, more or less, are leading this OTA business with 70%. So, yes, they have different brands, maybe they compete with each other, these brands, but on the long run, Priceline decides what brand, what direction says strategically where they want to have each brand. So this is for us not really a fine situation, we will see, because we see this concentration. On the other hand, of course we see strong distribution partners, but on the other hand this concentration on partnerships is also a thing where we have focus. In Austria, there was always HRS and Discover very strong. What we see in the last 2 to 3 years, booking is nearly 100% market dominance. When they decide to go to Kitzbühel, they send 5 employees there and go there, make their office and go for hotel acquisition. We see HRS is still strong, but they are more and more focusing on business traveling, business trips, and Expedia is pretty strong in Austria, but they still have potential, I would say. So cool, you can make it with the commissions. So, we are happy. Actually, it's not so simple to say yes or no. Of course we have a partnership. Of course we reach customers with booking, with Expedia, with all other players, where we wouldn't reach. We get bookings from international customers, we get bookings on time slots where we are not strong in our own distribution chains. So we see partners, strong partners for online distribution. And we stay, and we always say that we see this as partnership. But on the other hand, we have already outlined it. We have some problems with some contract conditions, like rate parities, price parities, and things like this. Our colleagues in Germany have already won very good decisions where the rate parity has fallen. We also have a very fine situation for the hotel industry in France, where there is where the rate parity was by law prohibited, and there are similar developments in Italy and so on. And we will see what Austria brings or what directions we will go. The point is that we see that corporations and especially distribution should be partnership, should be on a way where both partners can live. And if we have talked about revenues in the hotel industry, so we have last week there was a study published where 50% of all hotels are operating negative, and the good hotels are operating by a margin to 2 to 3%. So if the distribution cost, and the point is that for many years ago, 10 years ago, distribution was of course not cost intensive because there were a tourist office, of course there was a flag, Zimmer frei, or a room available, and distribution functioned another way. And now distribution is primarily online. Distribution costs something, that's okay, but we have to handle this cost factor, and for that we need a fair partnership that we both can grow on the market, that not only one partner can grow. So this is our point. Why is this our point, and why is this for us so important? Because we say it's all about the customer ownership, and the customer ownership shows that the phases before booking, during booking, after booking, of course the hotel industry is losing on grip. Of course we have players, Google, we have Booking, we have Expedia, we have Kayak and all the other players. They act as gatekeeper to the customer. And the more information the customer is interacting with him, the more harder for the hotel industry gets for direct marketing, gets to upgrade the customer and all these things. So to get this power on the customer ownership in all phases of the customer is one of our core businesses, of our core topics of the Austrian hotel industry, to be partner of the hotels and to bring them solutions and partnership where they can focus on them. So the point is not only to fight OTAs, this is the wrong way. I think it's a partnership, but to manage OTAs and to decide how to work on my distribution channels and to make his own decision, to be able to make his decision how I work with him, what price I give the OTA, the channel, and of course I have many other activities as a hotel, what I have to focus, to perform, and to learn the customer needs, to be good on the business, because we have the key of the hotel industry, which not Booking or Expedia or anybody have, because on the end the customer comes into the hotel, and there we have the real customer ownership and can make a really strong partnership. So on the end, it's my last slide. Well, it's all about customer ownership. Yeah, for that the HOTRAC, European Hotel and Restaurant Association, has launched a project. Also, some larger hotel chains have launched some projects to strengthen the direct booking, to bring more hotels to the direct booking ability, and to bring the more or less the hotel industry some steps forward in to manage actively their distribution channels. Thank you very much, and don't forget, book direct.
Marcus, thank you so much for your speech. We really appreciate your questions. They're pretty good. So I think we should start with your questions, not our ones. So that's the first one.
Thank you. I'm also on your side. I'm also on your side. I hope that we sell hotels anyways. I think one of the problems is that we know pretty well what the distribution costs over the OTAs and so on, but the individual hotels, most of them don't really know what it costs to distribute in-house. And my question is, since it's obviously also a matter of resources, and since you're the representative of especially the individual hotels, what do you suggest to them, or is there products? I know that you do trainings and this type of thing. Isn't that something, or what do you do in order for the individual hoteliers being better able to decide what is the good distribution channel, or over which channel do I distribute to what customer? How can they figure out better what the distribution really costs?
Well, we are not only a lobbying organization, we also have a company focused in training and corporations for hoteliers. There we have different courses and trainings. For example, one training is online revenue management and online marketing, where we train the hoteliers how to use which channel for him is the best and what distribution costs. Also a web page has distribution costs and direct booking, and how to manage these channels. We make a lot of studies. We made a hotel study with Roland Berger, which we try to communicate into the industry and to work together with research institutes and so on, because the hardest part is, especially if you're focusing on small media enterprises, in the day-to-day business, they are really full with things operating their business. And to go on a strategic and to decide channel marketing, revenue management, what I do there and so on. So we see this as a really huge part for us as organization to train and to communicate and also to find partnerships and say, okay, this is a good partner, we think you can go further. We have partnerships, preferred partner for the Austrian Hotel Association, where we say this is a revenue manager or software which you can use and train and so on. So it's a really broad things to do, yeah.
Is there an average what you pay for distribution if you sell a room over your own distribution?
Over your own distribution channel, web page, for example. We don't have the data in detail because it's really depending on the individual hotel. It's a good question. We can try to, is the channel over Google Ads, how expensive, what I have, what conversion I have on my booking engine and so on. There are a lot of factors. You have to analyze each hotel really independently to get this knowledge. But of course, I think Booking has a conversion rate from down 1% on the pager.
Don't believe it. Don't believe it. It's a secret, isn't it?
It's a secret?
It's a secret. Okay. It's like the Coca-Cola formula. Don't believe one less than 1%.
But this depends a lot of how your web page, for example, is performing, yeah? Or delivering.
Next question, please. Come on.
Okay, great.
Oh, there's one question over there.
First of all, thanks all of you for coming. Thank you very much, Professor Eger, for organizing all this, because this is really amazing to have.
Can you speak a bit louder, please?
I probably could. First, I'm just thanking everybody. Yeah. So, I'm interested, first of all, more question to you, and actually all the panel, more of the human interactions. Obviously, we have a lot of online stuff. And what's interesting for us, many students, especially a bit more onto destination orientation, I believe we have a big gap. On Facebook, there is a big picture going on. We are looking for somebody with 30 years of experience who's 26 years old. That's a big deal going on, and sometimes it feels like for us as students we are not, most of us are not experts in computers, and a lot of jobs are kind of leading there. What kind of suggestion from all of you do you see from us with being trained in tourism and actually understanding this really better than majority of people? And yeah, thank you.
Okay. Being trained for the hotel industry, I think what is growing for us, one thing is the thing of online distribution. So, and to be able to have people to manage the online market, the distribution management for a hotel, for example, this is not. This is also valid for a region or something like this. But what we see most in the hotel industry, of course, we need people who have had training on the job, who had experience how business is running. Because you can only, what we always see, you can only learn in hotel business by interacting with people, with customers, and to understand how the processes are functioning. For this is for me a very strong part that so much as many of you should try to get really into the business, not only to say, okay, I go on a desk and to manage, really to learn how the processes are running and so on, and then go the next step higher and have the management skills and develop yourself in the hotel, for example, or a brand.
So maybe all of you are kind of interested how I got into Expediaries. I think that's where the question comes from, right? You're basically asking, so I'm not a computer specialist, I don't really know anything about OTAs, can I work for you? Right? That's the question. So, first of all...
You know a lot more, but not computer.
Okay, no, exactly. So, all of you here already, you've taken the right step because you're in the right place to learn about this industry, right? You're able to, work with I have to commend your professor as well, who's very innovative, right? And obviously has contacts all around the industry, so you're in the right place. Now, I can tell you as well, you don't have to know much about Google or computers, or maybe a bit of Excel would be good sometimes. But the one thing, if you want to work, let's say, for Expedia in market management, right? So if you want to work with hotels, what my team does essentially is maintain and foster the relationships with our hotels and sign new hotels. So it's a lot of sales. It's also a lot of consulting. So basically, the kind of people that I look for is people that are, sales driven. They want to go out and, spread the word about Expedia and bring more hotel partners on our sites. But at the same time, I need consultants as well that are able to, analyze data, like I said before, and then bring it to the hotels in order to perform better on our marketplace. Because obviously the single most question that we get from our hotels is, what can I do to sell more? Right? That's the single most question that we get, and there is several ways of answering that. So what I'm saying is, all of you sitting here, right? If you have a skill to sell something, if you're a great communicator, right? If you're open, if you have the right language skills, that's important in Eastern Europe. So if you speak Russian, Polish, Croatian, all these kind of languages, all ears, then you don't need to know a lot about what's going on in the background and in the engine room, right? Because if you like to do that, absolutely, there's jobs in the engine room as well. But and I'm saying this personally now, I'm not hot on the dark and sweaty engine room. I actually want to be out on the main deck in the sun and see lots of great hotels and help hotels grow with us. So what I'm saying is there is entry positions that you absolutely can go for in our organization that don't require a lot of previous experience, because exactly to whose point was it? Was your point, right? Where you say we're looking for a 30-year-old that has 26, that we're looking for a 26-year-old that has 30 years experience. You see, I wasn't very good at maths as well. And that just doesn't exist out there. Yeah? So when I started, I'm a graduate of the same school as your professor, then immediately went to London to work on front desk for Marriott for 5 years. I kind of had different positions there on front desk, talking to a lot of different people, lots of different industries. Then I went to Munich to work in revenue management for Kempinski. Then a headhunter called me up to ask if I wanted to work for Expedia. And the story is that I said, Expedia, these are people that are calling me every day and they want better rates, and they should be happy that my beautiful hotel is on their site in any case, and I don't know. So in any case, I said, I'm kind of a bit tired of Kempinski anyway, because it wasn't really going anywhere, it wasn't innovative enough. And I said, I'm just going to go to the interview and see who works there. And then I went there with my suit and tie and typical Kempinski outfit, and I have the VP of Europe sitting there in shorts and Puma speedcats. And I was initially a bit irritated by the outfit. So I thought, you are the VP, you look like, I don't know, the bellman. But then he opened his mouth, and we had our interview, and I accepted, and I never looked back. So that's the story. And it took a bit longer than I thought.
Okay, there's one more. There's one more question over there. Where? Okay, you have the microphone.
Thank you very much. My name is Robert from ITH Crescent. It is becoming more exciting. I have one question, and the question goes to Google, Booking.com, America, Austria, Escapio, and Expedia. Well, we have heard, first up to get from Dr. Marcus Gretz's speech or explanation, and I also quote what is appearing there. Thank you, Book Direct. I know that all these companies have got their SWOT analysis. Now, imagine a situation that everybody is booking direct to the hotels through their websites. Do you have any plan Bs if you find yourself in such a situation? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. So Google's, the two answers. The short answer is we probably have a problem because our best customers are not going to be paying us anymore. But the serious, more longer answer is, a product that I touched upon earlier is basically trying to solve just for that. Google Hotel Ads is a product that is very similar to Kayak and Trivago. It's basically a meta-search player that allows users to book directly with the hotels. And that's what we're trying to push. My job, and my only job, is to scale this product in Austria, Switzerland, and emerging markets such as the Middle East and Africa. So if that does happen, then I'm probably going to get promoted and get a big raise, because that's what I'm supposed to be trying to do. But there's probably a couple of other people who have different opinions on that.
From my point of view, I think it is a little bit easy to say book direct. And you asked about training and what are the facts you should know. First of all, I must say, you have to understand processes behind the business. This is the most important thing. Now a question, who worked for a practica in a travel agency? 1, 2, okay. After you finished your study, who wants to start in a travel agency? Okay, you're studying tourism, okay, but the processes behind each model is completely different. If we are talking, if I fly with my family from Salzburg to Frankfurt, it is very easy. I go in the internet and I book for 5 persons a flight, and that's it. If you have to understand the processes for corporations, and corporations in general have a higher margin, TMCs have a higher margin than the classic leisure business. You have to understand that all the data, all the processes must be set in any further system in a company, in a corporation. This is very important to understand. Therefore, I believe only to say book the hotel room direct is not enough. Then you must go, you've booked the flight direct. You go in the next system, you have to book the hotel night direct. Then you need a car at the airport. This is the next direct connect. And if you talk to travel agencies, I believe they don't want to do it, and they will not do it. Because at the end, process costs are very, very important. And if you have to change something, you have to go in the first system, you have to go in the second system, you have to go in the third system to change everything. And at the end of the day, you don't know if you have now everything covered, or if you have everything rebooked, and so on and so on. So travel agencies, TMCs, booking hundreds of tickets every day. They couldn't change different systems. This is not possible. And therefore, I believe it is very, very important that you look deeper into the process of standard leisure travel and of the processes of a business travel for a corporation.
And very quickly, one sentence, you were talking about the ownership of the customer. Before customer ownership comes customer acquisition. And you want to ask yourself, how much does that cost? Because who knows, maybe a lot of Austrian people know the Hotel Schloss Fuschel because it's just really famous. But if you go to downtown Chicago and ask how many of you know Hotel Schloss Fuschel, maybe it's not so many. So I think that's what we are helping to do as well. So we absolutely encourage the hotels as well to use us as a customer acquisition basis, and then at the hotel, when the guy checks out or is at the front desk, checking in, checking out, whatever, just try and make him a direct customer in the next stage. Yeah? But that's all I'm going to say to that as well.
Sorry, I have another comment on that. We definitely think realistic. So if everybody is going to start to book direct, this is as well why we innovate. This is why we also develop for the future. This is as well why we understand, okay, which are the directions the market is going, what is going to be next. But to the point to book direct, I think until everybody is going to book direct, it's going to be quite a long way, because we know each other, we know ourselves, and we know that if we want to book in New York, I want to as well call at a time maybe nobody answers in New York, because this is the time when I have time to do it. This is the first thing, and the second thing, there are not, I think that hotels also have to get back as well to the customer connection, because if I see that I get auto replies from hotels where I send an email to, this email is not going to be answered until we come back from holidays, it can be a booking request. You cannot do that, you know. I think that these are things where the market, the industry, has to also develop further to really make sure that direct bookings can be done in an easy way, because this is what customers want. And I think this is as well something why we have organizations like the ÖHV to really make sure that hotels can handle it, yeah? But to be very honest, I think it's a very long way to go, that one.
So, thank you very much. I think this was an awesome discussion so far. Applause.